Rambling o'er them there fairy hills. I recall a time in my teenage years when I was walking in the mountains, the eastern edge of which rolled down into the east coast of Ireland to a place called Newcastle in County Down. I wasn't walking to get somewhere, I was just walking for the sake of walking through the mountains for 4 days, because I enjoyed being alone. There were very many magical places, and they all had strange and beautiful names. The cliffs and mountains and rocks. It was a very beautiful place. After 4 days of just walking in the hills, I felt very clear-headed, very cleansed, and when I returned to the so-called civilized world, it didn't seem so civilized anymore, but very dark and dirty instead. Anyway, as I was walking along, I came to a path which wasn't on the map, but the direction of this path indicated that it seemed to be a more direct route to where I wanted to get to. So I decided I would take the path, and I walked along it for about 15 minutes, I suppose, and the path came to an end, and I found myself on a road. This road was not where I thought I was going to end up. It was actually very far away from where I expected to be, so I looked at the map, and I looked at all of the mountains around. I looked at all of the features and the contours, and found out where I was. I found out that I was 3 miles from where I had been 15 minutes ago. Obviously, this was an impossible thing to have happened. So I decided to formulate some theories as to how this could have happened. Maybe my watch was wrong, and it wasn't really 15 minutes. But it was. It felt like 15 minutes. Maybe the map was wrong, but it was an Ordnance Survey map. Ordnance Survey maps are not usually that wrong. In fact, they're normally incredibly accurate, as they're taken from aerial photographs. So then I came up with the possibility that I'd stepped through a black hole in time, which isn't really feasible because black holes only happen in space, as far as I'm aware. I then thought about the area I was in. It was a very desolate region, very untouched by mankind, and there are lots of what logical people call legends about fairy, sometimes spelt F-A-I-R-Y, folk, elves, and other magical beings, which are very prominent in Irish culture. All of the best Irish mythological heroes are a part of one fairy folk parent and one human parent, often a king of some sort. Also, fairy mounds, lonely hills where the fairy folk live, are common in the local stories, places where humans are somehow unable to visit. So I wondered if there had been a fairy mound in the middle of this path, or maybe a cluster of them, or maybe a whole city, which a mere mortal like myself was not allowed to walk past. So as I walked down the path 1/4 mile, maybe I was moved by magic over 2 miles further on, to the last part of the path, so I wouldn't be conscious of walking past the fairy mound. There are several reasons you could come up with to explain my strange journey, but that one's my favourite, and I think I'll stick with it.